People ask me, how can you bury a baby? It's like the hardest thing in the whole wide world. And my answer right back to them is, how can I not? Garden of Innocence is a place that's been made for abandoned and unidentified children to provide them with a dignified burial, to bring a community together to bury a child that nobody else cared for. And anybody that's at the service can form a circle around the garden, and they pass that urn or casket from one person to the other so that we can say we've touched this child and this child's touched our hearts. They're placed in Garden of Innocence, and they're given a monument by monument builders that have come and donated their time to carve on a niche a name that nobody else gave them, a name that's a new name for this little child to show that they were once here. Babies deserve to be given a final resting place. They deserve to have their name on a lawn. They deserve a place where people can go and think about them and think about their short time here and think about the possibilities of what they could have been if they were given the opportunity to step out on the skinny branches and be a living, breathing person here.
How many grandmas do you have? 2.
Do you have any grandmas?
Yes.
Tell me their names.
Grandma Fox and that's all I know.
Does she ever give you treats?
No.
And there's like a whole bunch of candy and root beer.
So tell me again what you like to do when you go to Grammy's house.
Watch TV and eat junk food.
Does she ever give you treats?
Probably like Grand days or well, we go with Grandma and she usually gets us frozen yogurt.
Do you ever play games at Grandma's house?
No.
No?
She doesn't care if we wrestle, even if it's a Sunday. She likes to have us give hugs, and after we give her hugs, she gives us popsicles.
When you go to your grandma's house, what do you think of when you think of going into your grandma's house?
Ice cream. That's what we usually have for dessert, and she usually has a lot of it.
Just tries her best, it seems like, and she's really nice to us and other people. I really like that about her. She never really thinks about herself as much as other people.
What is your favorite thing to do at Grandma's house?
Grandma Ann is very silly. I don't really do nothing with girlfriend work. I'm a grandma's boy.
I just call him Bert. Just normal Bert, plain Bert.
He has hair on the sides, but doesn't have any hair on top. Almost bald, and wrinkles. Two of my grandpas have glasses. Three, actually all of them have glasses. He wears suits a lot. I like to snuggle with my grandpa. Play with his dog. I think he has a dog. He pushes me on the swing.
And does your grandpa ever tease you?
He teased me about my hair because I used to have really, really long dreads.
He walks over to us and puts something on our back and says that there's a bee on our back, so we freak out and then turn around and there's a letter B on our back, and then, yeah.
Okay, Mark.
Can you do this?
Oh, no,
The audio and the video?
not with this professional.
Someone like my hero.
Well,
And it just has to be one person.
my mother.
My mom. I would venture to say my ex-husband.
Certainly my friends.
My grandfather.
Well, I'd say my husband, but
I think of selfless service and love and nurturing.
Because with him, I grew up.
And she never had child support, and she had to work very hard to raise all her kids by herself.
I had very many happy years with him.
I still want to be her when I grow up.
The amazing thing about family history is it answers two of the most human questions out there, which are, who am I and where have I come from?
It helps bring your own self-identity to light, because you know what it took to get you here and why you're here.
We know that who we are comes from the people that we came from. We all know that we have ancestors who have done things for us, that have lived lives that have prepared the way for us. And I think family history is a little bit of a gratitude kind of learning process.
Grave markers play a huge role in family history and in genealogy for several reasons. One is that it's a tangible and physical object that is pretty heavy and is not going to be moved. So it's a great resource. It's similar to a birth certificate or a death certificate. It's a tangible object that we can use in family history to help start piecing together some of these different events that take place. We can come back to tangible objects.
The type of story that a headstone can tell you is not just names and dates and places, it's relationships, proximity, and where a headstone is and who's around, who else is buried in that area. Can tell you a lot about that person. Really, a family plot is a family story.
But this one family, when we found the parents, it was just an incredibly touching experience. It was very tender, because when we found the parents, we had the two parents buried side by side, and then there were 2 rows of grave markers to the side of the parents. And what happened is there were actually 5 graves next to the parents, with 2 babies in each grave laid end to end, so that they had had 10 children that died at about a year old or younger, so died as babies. And that mother had given birth to 12 children, and only 2 had lived to adulthood. And that was one that my mother and I just sat down in the family plot and tears were shed. That was a difficult find to feel for that mother. I've had children. I've been blessed not to lose any of my children yet. And I just can't imagine what that mother went through. And as far as I know, there is no record on this earth of those 10 babies other than the grave markers in that cemetery. I've found nothing else to record the fact that those children lived.
There's something transcendent about being someplace tangible, to see a marker, to see a name carved in stone that has survived long past them or any of their physical belongings. That's a tribute to them. That's a manifestation of the love that their family had for them. And you feel that when you visit those places. You feel that love, you feel that connection.
A great memorial for the purpose of genealogy would be naturally a person's name, their full name, their birth date and a place of birth, a death date, a marriage date and the name of a spouse, and for a lady to make sure that her maiden name is on the memorial, and to have children's names. Those things all help make a memorial that the future can have an understanding of this individual. Other things that are important become what a person loved, what they enjoyed, what hobbies maybe they had, what service they gave, whether that may be religious or government or whatever it might be. Those things can also be either represented by word or represented by emblems or symbols. Those things all are able to be created with the modern technologies that we have. The aspect of granite being the media of choice because it wears 15 thousandths of an inch every 1,000 years. So it's when something is carved into it or made out of it, it lasts, and it's going to be here when those future generations want to visit that site, want to know more of that ancestor that maybe they never met, but they have a chance now to have an understanding of.
We've collected art almost since we were married. When we traveled, we always looked at regional art and tried to pick up pieces that we loved and that would remind us of places that we had seen. But I think our serious art collection began
in around 2005. In 2005, we really started when we saw poppies. We had visited it for a couple of years when we went up there, and at that time, I said to Nancy, I said, wouldn't that be great in front of the Veterans Hall? And Nancy said yes. And I said, let's go back. So we went back. It took 9 months to get approval. And in 2005, we bought the piece, or the city bought the piece for us. We donated the money. And 2007, it was installed, and that was our start.
We've been here for over 40 years. We love our community, and it was a way for us to give back.
Years ago, my parents found an architect to help them build their dream home. His expertise helped to create a place to be enjoyed by generations to come. Now that they're gone, we followed that example by finding a memorialist to make a tribute to them. His expertise helped to create a monument that will be enjoyed by generations to come. Because when it's permanent, choosing a professional makes all the difference.
My name is Scott Lucan, and I am a third-generation stone carver. Yeah, being a third-generation stone carver, memorialist, is really an awesome thing. There aren't very many industries around that boast the kind of connection to past generations that monument manufacturers do. I think it's a really cool thing that I have tools that belong to my grandfather, and to be able to take those tools and still be able to use them. That's really cool. Memorials are starting to become more and more individualized and unique. So when people go to visit their loved one that had passed away, they can see their memorial and see the different details that pertain to who that person was, or maybe what that person did in their lifetime. When a family comes into our business to order a memorial, they really don't know what they want. It's a foreign process to many people. It's not something that you do often. Each instance is unique. The family obviously wants to commemorate their loved one, and they want to do it as best as they possibly can with their budget allowed. They have many choices. They can go with something that is very basic, kind of out of the book. All the designs are picked from a book. Or they could go to the other end of the spectrum and design something that's really unique, something that's custom, where they meet with the artist like myself and we draw up designs and possibly contours of the memorial that would tell a very unique story about that person. So it's very similar to getting a tattoo, for instance. A person would run into the same kind of a thing. If they want to go and get a tattoo, they could easily pick right from the posters and the books that the tattoo artist has, or in many cases, because they want something unique, they will work with that artist and have something customly drawn up that would be a one of a kind. It's going to be out there forever. So why not put some thought into the monument and have it really unique and tell a really good story about that individual. You know, tattoos are often done because they're a memorial tattoo. People will put hours and hours of time and a huge amount of expense to have it done right and have it done proper the first time. So why wouldn't you want to do that for a memorial as well? I do love what I do. My name is Scott Lucan, and I am a third-generation stone carver. Yeah, being a third-generation stone carver, memorialist, is really an awesome thing. There aren't very many industries around that boast the kind of connection to past generations that monument manufacturers do. I think it's a really cool thing that I have tools that belong to my grandfather, and to be able to take those tools and still be able to use them. That's really cool. Memorials are starting to become more and more individualized and unique. So when people go to visit their loved one that had passed away, they can see their memorial and see the different details that pertain to who that person was, or maybe what that person did in their lifetime. When a family comes into our business to order a memorial, they really don't know what they want. It's a foreign process to many people. It's not something that you do often. Each instance is unique. The family obviously wants to commemorate their loved one, and they want to do it as best as they possibly can with if their budget allowed. They have many choices. They can go with something that is very basic, kind of out of the book. All the designs are picked from a book. Or they could go to the other end of the spectrum and design something that's really unique, something that's custom, where they meet with the artist like myself and we draw up designs and possibly contours of the memorial that would tell a very unique story about that person. So it's very similar to getting a tattoo, for instance. A person would run into the same kind of a thing. If they want to go and get a tattoo, they could easily pick right from the posters and the books that the tattoo artist has, or in many cases, because they want something unique, they will work with that artist and have something customly drawn up that would be a one of a kind. There are two types of clients that come into our business. There's an at-need, which is a person has died in the family and they want to order a monument. And the second is pre-need, which is when a husband and wife or a young person can come in and they can design their own monument ahead of time. That way they have complete control over what goes on the monument and they can have it exactly how they want it. And then the family down the road, after that person has died, they don't have to worry about designing the monument at all. I had a client once come in and the person that had passed away had tattoos and they were very special to that person. They took a lot of time and effort in designing these tattoos. They were quite detailed. So the family had brought me photographs and whatnot, and we designed the memorial with these tattoos. And I often think it would have been very nice if that individual would have come in ahead of time and designed his own memorial. I could only imagine what kind of details would have been on there. It's going to be out there forever, so why not put some thought into the monument and have it really unique and tell a really good story about that individual. You know, tattoos are often done because they're a memorial tattoo. People will put hours and hours of time and a huge amount of expense to have it done right, have it done proper the first time. So why wouldn't you want to do that for a memorial as well?
"37 years ago, this coming January, my brother Tom passed away. I was 21 at the time and he was 24. To say we were shocked is an understatement. We were both raised from a very loving family. Church, family, and friends were of the utmost importance to my parents. And we spent most of our time in the early years going on family picnics and church outings and family vacations at the river down by in Santa Cruz, the river that comes alongside the ocean, and up in the mountains up near Yosemite. We were always family oriented and just had a great time together as young kids. We went to the same schools as we were growing up, the same elementary school, junior high, high school. I went on to college, my brother didn't. But in going to the schools, we had the same teaching, the same moral upbringing all the way through. Unfortunately, as my brother got older into the late teens and early 20s, his life took a different route, and he committed suicide. In the religion, the Protestant religion, back in the 70s, that was kind of a taboo thing. So my parents thought that the best course for them was to just have Tom cremated and his ashes scattered out over the Santa Cruz Harbor. We had a memorial service and life went on. But through the years, it just dwelled on me that I had no place. There was no finality to Tom. We knew where he was, but there was no place to go and visit, no place no record of him being here. For years, it troubled me until one day I was at a local cemetery and the manager up there offered to have a plate made on what they call their memorial wall. You didn't have to be buried on the grounds to have a named place there. So I purchased a plaque, had it placed on the wall, and for years now, every time I'm in the cemetery, I'm able to go by, stop, look at his name, and reflect on the past, knowing that for decades to come, his name is here. There's a place where people know that Tom existed. In the business that I'm in, we get calls weekly that people are saying, I wish I would have taken more time to think this over. What do I do with Mom? What do I do with Dad? We've got them here at home. We suggest different local cemeteries and give them different options on how to memorialize their loved one, whether it be their mother, their father, their brother. And this is, I tell them the story that I had, what it meant to me to be able to put some type of a finish to his death. And as far as I'm concerned, everybody deserves to be remembered. Everybody deserves to be memorialized.